we're going to talk about a few instructional design tips. And so the two biggies are accessibility and then designing for mobile apps. I have put a lot of this information in my course. So these are the things, if you signed up to get my links, that I will send to you. But this information I got out of our Canvas community. So this is all documentation that lives in our Canvas community. So I'll talk a little bit about accessibility within Canvas, and if you want to follow along, this is in my training course. So I mentioned before that, it is very important to Canvas that it remains accessible to users. So it explains in here kind of how that's built. And I will freely admit that I know that probably there are a lot of you who are much more versed on what all of this means. And I know, like Richard, you're very well versed in the accessibility guidelines. But this does go into detail for how screen readers work with Canvas, and how the Canvas navigation works with a screen reader. So some of the things that work really well. So everywhere you guys have seen those drag and drop elements, those are also going to be enabled for those who are using the Move To option with screen readers and keyboard users. So they're going to be able to also use that with any of these types, so it kind of lists them all out right there. There are also a bunch of keyboard shortcuts. It talks to you in here in this document about how the rich content editor can help with content creation. So one of the things Richard mentioned the other day was embedding images. And what was it? When you bring over from Flickr, it already gives you the alt tag?
That was, no, when you load up an image.
When you have a file.
Yeah.
One of your own images.
Or if you say something from Google, it's going to come down this, some maybe image, and you have to change, or you should change the title,
right,
be descriptive of what the content is, and that will give you your alt tag at the same time.
Yes. So if you name your file what you want the alt tag to be.
Which means that you're going to have to do it with proper grammar too, because it's going to be visible to the to sighted people as well.
Absolutely.
Readable by a reader. But that makes your file manager a whole lot cleaner, doesn't it?
Yeah. Absolutely, if you name it that way.
Yeah.
I noticed too, if you do use Flickr to embed images, which, if we're using it that way, it will come over automatically with that alt tag. So that's something that
the only problem with those is that they go away. If you're taking stuff directly from URLs from outside sites, the materials could be taken down.
Right. So that's off the page or something
exactly.
like that.
So it means
right. So that could be broken.
Continual vigilance to make sure all your stuff is there.
Drives me crazy.
This does get into videos. So closed captions and how to embed to enable the closed captioning on your videos. It talks about the calendar. So for the calendar to be accessible, and this is one of the things I didn't show when we were working on calendar, is there is the agenda view. So the agenda view for calendar is the one that's accessible. So let me show you that. So it's going to default to the month view, but this agenda view, because it's going to be a list, this is how it's accessible to students who or faculty members, to screen readers, because it's nice and clean and it will show in the list. So that's the accessible part of the calendar.
What about rubrics?
It does get into rubrics. So.
It does or it doesn't?
It does. It tells you. Yeah.
Because tables.
Tables are a real problem.
So this talks about tables. Okay, this talks about gradebook. So both the gradebook and the Learning Mastery gradebook have the individual view. That one is accessible. It gets into the accessibility of third-party integrations. So these are not always developed on the same standards as Canvas is. So if you are using LTIs, you should check those out to ensure that they are accessible. And then this talks about Salsa. Do you know, anyone know what that is? I don't know what that is either. But it talks about how it was defaulted for Canvas. So let's look at where it says tables.
How did they set up their syllabus?
If syllabus is accessible.
Well, the salsa one.
Oh, the Salsa
How
one?
different, or like, these aren't links.
Because this is just the PDF. So I'll send you the link to this actual living document too, and it has a link to it.
Curious as to
How they did it.
Yeah.
Here are the general accessibility design guidelines as well. So here are some layout and design guidelines that Canvas has created to help you if you're an instructional designer, to know how to make sure that it is accessible. So this is obviously keeping the pages clean and uncluttered and not putting a lot of stuff on it. Same thing for mobile, right? If you don't want to design, years-long pages for mobile users. So Richard and I were working with headings earlier so that those will show up in the header tags, right? So it talks about using your header tags for accessibility. And page titles are automatically generated at H1. So that will, whatever you title your page, that's going to be H1. And you can give different sections within using your rich content editor and picking the different headings. Goes into, again, with images. It talks about the alt tags. I'm sure you know this about links, that you attach the link to words that describe the link instead of embedding the ugly looking link, so that they understand where the link's going to take them. Gives you guys some good and bad examples. Talks about colors and which ones work well and which ones do not. Obviously yellow is a fail, right? The best colors to use are burnt orange, very dark gray, and black. Here's where it goes to tables. So in here it says tables should only be used for data display, not layout, and headings should always be included for columns and rows. File formats, it says tips, it gives you tips to make sure that they work well for students. PowerPoint, PDFs, again, I'll share this with anyone who signed up for it. And there's additional, okay, so what I read about SpeedGrader, which I wanted to point out, so SpeedGrader and the rubrics. So SpeedGrader, Crocodoc annotations do not work with screen readers, so they can't read that. That's why you would use the commenting feature at the bottom. Mm-hmm. All right, so they wouldn't be able, the screen reader wouldn't be able to read your Crocodoc annotations. It can see the comment bubble on your rubric though. So if you're using that comment bubble, it will read that, and then it will read your comments in the box at the bottom.
So your annotations on the
Crocodoc can't be read by a screen reader.
Crocodoc converts it to an image.
Yeah.
Document to an image.
So we shouldn't be doing that, or?
I think what it's kind of saying is if this is a concern and you do have students who are using screen readers, to be sure that you're including your other comments for them in the box.
Can documents that we annotate be downloaded by the student, or can we just simply use it?
Can they download your Crocodoc annotations?
Yeah.
They can.
Okay,
So that can be downloaded.
which then makes it probably readable.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
With
It's
a
just it's
split
not gonna.
screen.
Yeah, it won't be able to read in that Crocodoc screen.
Right,
But they can download.
They can download it. And
Yes,
they're
it
not-
comes up with that. All right. There is a great group there's a great, really vibrant community in the Canvas community. So don't forget that it's there. It's in your help button too, but it's community.canvaslms.com. And you also can get to it from the help button. If you go to help, and then you click on Ask the Community. So I know that Denise said she has joined. Once you log in, it's going to ask you to log in once you go to the community. I'm logged in. Here's my face. But if I log out and I come back, it's going to ask me to log into the community. And once I log in, it's going to ask you, where do you want to log into? It uses your single sign-on. So you can join groups, and there's a really great group for about that centers around accessibility. So I can send you that link if you signed up. But the accessibility group is sharing lots of resources, talking about what things work and what don't. There's a good question here: are tables accessible in Canvas? So this is one of the most active communities. You would have to join it, but they will let you in. So you'll see a little join button up there. Once you join this, you'll have access to any of this information in here. Denise was asking, how do I know if, do I get notifications or something out of here? So if you join and then are participating, either asking a question or posting something, you'll get notifications that other people in the Canvas group are responding to you. So don't forget about the groups. There is an instructional designers group too. That one's probably the most active group. So the instructional designers group in Canvas, they've always got awesome discussions happening. Here's one about how do you gamify your gradebook in Canvas. So another group that you might consider joining is that instructional designers group in Canvas. Canvas community. There is a higher ed group as well. These are all links that I can send you guys. So if you're wondering how your compatriots at other institutions are using Canvas, or what are they doing, what questions do they have, you could join the higher ed group. There's tons of places in here.